Yeah, 316. Got game and pulled out his own Atari. I said sorry, I'ma have to pass like Nash to Amari. Tiger up early on a Sunday, sinking birdies while the pigskin spinning through the air, tight and birdie. It's a TD, it's a TKO, a home run, it's a hat trick. Ain't no way to be an all-star without practice. So if you down to sacrifice your life for a draft pick, it's a pretty sweet position you can live in if you have some things in the air. If you got game, waving like you just don't care. If you got game, playing like you got no fit, and you got game. If you came here to win, yeah, you got game.
La Cobra. See, I'm looking at you, girl, what you trying to do? I can tell you a snake by the way you move. Got me thinking of what I want to do to you. Can I ride with you? Can I ride with you, nigga? Taste of her lips make you go for a ride. Oh, yeah. A taste of her lips make you go.
Welcome back to Local Music Somewhere here at rBeatz.com. My name is Annaliese, and today we are here with Princeton. He is a rapper and songwriter, and he's here to talk with us today about music and all things music life in the Charlotte city. Princeton, thank you so much for being with us today. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm feeling great.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me, where does your musical journey begin?
Ooh, man, I've been doing this for almost 11 years. So it takes back. I mean, I could take it way back.
Yeah, let's do it.
When I was a kid, just listening to a lot of different music that my parents liked, that my dad put me on. I probably knew like the greatest hits collection of like Michael Jackson, Prince, The Temptations, The Beatles, different artists like that by the time I was like 11 or 12. And I would just like recite in my mirror when I was growing up and just try to like practice. And I don't know, I just had like an affinity towards like performing and entertainment. And I think when I got into high school, that's kind of when I started tinkering around with the idea of wanting to create my own entity or artistry. And I think when I was actually also around that age, like 11 or 12, I would rewrite lyrics to popular songs that I liked. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into songwriting at an early age. High school came around. I really just wanted to experiment, I think around my sophomore year. So I was like writing lyrics, but kind of was afraid of, taking the next step of like becoming my own artist. And that's kind of what has like propelled my whole journey. But after like my senior year came around, I was like, I just turned into Princeton. I chose the name Princeton. I was like, all right, I'm going to take music seriously. I was 17 and I was a senior, and then I just started putting out remixes to songs, and I was really into hip hop and artists like Kanye and Drake at the time. And I saw them come up, and I was just like, I want to make something similar to that kind of style. And that's kind of when I was 17. I just was like, all right. And I chose the name Princeton, and I've stuck with it ever since. I didn't choose a random name that I had to change. It was the Princeton, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be called Princeton, and I'm going to make music. And that's kind of how I started.
Yeah, absolutely. Where does the name Princeton come from? Was there like a specific draw to the name like initially, or did it just pop up out of nowhere?
I say I wanted something like smooth or clean, because a lot of times like you have like Little Rascal or something like that were artist names. So Princeton just came from the university, obviously. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a clean name. Drake also is like, there's like a Drake University. So I was like, okay, that, Princeton sounds like you would want somebody to call you Princeton. And I'm trying to think what else. The artist Prince, I think, there's like Prince Royce. There's like people with the certain word Prince in their name. So I was like, what? It's like I'm not taking away from Prince. I was like, oh, Princeton. So that's kind of where I, came up with the name.
Yeah, there's a royalty aspect to it. It makes you feel like, and hey, you're in the Queen City too. Yeah, exactly. So like the royalty thing kind of goes hand in hand with you.
Exactly. I think I want it to be synonymous. Sorry, I want it to be synonymous with the Queen City, and that I'm like the prince of the city. So
yeah, you have a song called Prince in the City too.
Exactly. Yeah. Everything's on brand.
Did that come from just like your love of the city life, or?
Yeah, no, I think I just wanted to make like a signature song. I'd been making music for 7 or 8 years at that point, and I really wanted something that I was like, all right, if gun to my head or something like that, like this is the song that defines me. And I think, you know, a lot of people want to make like anthems for their city, but sometimes it's the best way that they, you know, there's not really a best way to go about it, but sometimes it just feels forced because you're like, oh, I got to put something with Charlotte or Queen City in like the lyrics, like in the core or something like that. And it just doesn't come out as like, as well as they think it would be. So I was like, you know, I want to do something where it's like, I'm not making a song about Charlotte, but I'm making a song from my perspective about growing up in Charlotte. And I think that's kind of how it became like that harmonious like feeling of like everything just gelled, because it was talking about myself, but then also talking about the city and kind of combining my perspective into like the city of Charlotte.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's kind of like, you know, when I think of a signature song, I think that's a signature song. It sucks if I perform it outside of Charlotte because it doesn't hit the same, because I'm telling people, oh, I'm from Charlotte. And, you know, but definitely in Charlotte, it definitely hits, you know, I try to get people really involved. I've gotten to perform that song a few different places. So
absolutely. And yeah, the people that get it for sure.
Exactly.
So in 2017, you released your first album called 21 and Up.
And doing your homework.
I do my homework.
Yeah.
Exactly. What was the process like of creating that album, and which song are you the most proud of from that album?
21 and Up. Okay, so I'd been making music for a good 3 years, and it was a lot of like remixes of songs, but then I was starting to do more original songs, and I think it was good for the first few years. But I think after my third year of making music, like, you know, that in my head I was like, oh, I needed something that I really was like, oh, this needs to be like a statement, you know, at least when I put out a body of work, like this is going to be something big. And I kind of didn't know how to go about, you know, making an album, but I had a friend, I went to UNC Charlotte and at the time, and I had a friend that had an apartment because I stayed at home, and he just gave me like the time of day. His name's Will, and we would just like, I would just go to his place and like come up with like, show him the ideas I had and like tell him lyrics, and then he would kind of refine it, tell me what was good, what was not, and like he'd help a little songwriting. And then I think that semester, you know, I was still doing good in school, but I was like just more focused. Like I was like, man, I gotta make an album, like, you know.
Absolutely.
And everything just started to come together, like one song after the next. And I think I put out a couple singles at that time, and I got like really good reception on a couple of the singles just because they were like, okay, like, oh, he's for real, you know, he's coming out swinging. And man, that was my 2017. So yeah, that was that. Now that I'm looking back on it, it was a while ago. The song I'm most proud of though.
Yeah.
Let's see. I would say there's a song called Faces and Let Me Breathe. And those are more like introspective about like my family life, and just kind of like peel back the curtain on like, you know, I think I mentioned like my parents, my grandparents, and just different dynamics and growing up. And, you know, I think those are ones that I like hold near and dear to my heart, kind of. I think those are more important than just like, you know, and then I think that album is just really good because it has like a combination of different, like I have like a couple of like, I guess, club songs per se, just like more high intensity bangers. And then with actually like some smooth, like introspective songs, a little bit of R&B, just, you know, delving in wanting to make an album that actually like, you know, represented like the versatility that I have and I can prowess. And, you know, it's definitely, and I think what really came together on that album was I studied abroad for a week in Panama, in Costa Rica. And I had a roommate that was like a classmate of mine, and I just remember they had this rooftop pool, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And like we had to wear like nice clothes because we were going on like certain, I guess, tours of different companies.
Yeah.
So they had to wear nice clothes. So I just told my roommate, I was like, hey, can we wake up at like 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning and like go to the rooftop and you take photos of me? And I think that's the whole 21 and Up. I've heard people say that it gets like it gets better. Like when you turn 21, you know, it's either downhill from here or like, you know, it's up from here.
Right. Yeah.
So I just kind of like that idea of calling the album 21 and Up, just because like, you know, when you go to a place, it's like, oh, we don't do 18, it's 21 and up. So it's just like that saying. I'm very big on those like kind of sayings for like project titles, you know, like a average, like a
double
actual
meaning.
Yeah. And it's an actual like saying that people say, oh, 21 and up. Like, you know, even though it's just to get into a bar or a club, like, oh, it's 21 and up. So I think the album, it was like when I was 21, when I was 20, I came up with the concept. And then I think while I was 21, it took me like 10 months into 21 to release it because, you know, I was thinking like, oh, I can get this out while I'm 21. And then it was like, oh man, I'm about to be 22 here in a little bit. Like this whole concept's about to fall on his face. So yeah, 21 and up. I think that was my first time of like making a stamp and like, oh, okay, this is like me putting out a whole project. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
I didn't realize that there was like a double meaning to that until you just said it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that makes so much sense. Because I was like thinking about it and I was like, this song is like so immersive of like kind of like the idea of like freedom with like you said, like with 21 and up, like you need to be 21 and up in order to get somewhere. Like I've had those experiences before where I couldn't get somewhere because I needed to be like 21
and I think that goes along with like the saying of like, well, you can't get in there because you're not 21. So a lot of people are like, I mean, that's the big reason when you turn 21, it's like, oh, you can, you know, in the United States, you can legally drink or, you know, legally get into certain venues. And a lot of people are like, oh, once you turn 21, it goes downhill from here. And I was just like, man, does it really suck after 21? And but then other people, the other side of it was like, oh, it's just getting started. So that's kind of the whole theme of what I chose to do is even in the final song, 21 Up, I just say like it's just getting started. It's 21 and up. So yeah, no, that was cool. Thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely.
I haven't really talked about that, and it's been like 7 years. It's been a while since I've talked about it.
Yeah, it's so immersive, and it's such a like a true like statement for sure.
And I have a couple of songs on there that I still perform like at concerts today because I feel like the music that I want to make is like, you know, timeless music. So if I perform it 7 years ago, I can still perform it today. And there's definitely like a few standout tracks that that people still know and that I still perform today that I'm like, man, these like, you know, these I could still perform these like 10 years from now and like they're, you know, they hold that weight. So
yes, that's amazing. So your song La Cobra is such a great song, I just want to say. And the music video for it really captures the energy of that song. What was the process like of filming that music video? Like were the people in it, like were they like extras or were they just like people that you were just like...
It was straight people that live on the island of Vieques. There was the only people that we had, I was with a group of 4 other people. And the 4 of them, you might see them like throughout, like 2 of them like helped out with it. So, you know, one of the girls was a friend of the videographer that we went out there to. So with that whole landscape, I mean, it was just like a lot of run and gun, a lot of, I had this song and there's a videographer and his wife, his name's 12 and Amy Vanderplow. And they've done music videos and, you know, this type of content for a long time. And I just saw that they posted on Instagram that, hey, we're going to go out to Puerto Rico to film something, you know, and, you know, if you're an artist, you know, reach out to us if you have a song. So I had the song La Cobra at the time and I didn't really know exactly like what the vibe of the music video was. I didn't really have much ideas, but I sent it to them and they said, oh, this could work. And then we met up before the trip and we just kind of brainstormed about it. And I was like, I'm sold. Like, yeah, like let's do it. And so I ended up meeting them out there. I get to Puerto Rico, I had to take a little like small plane. I had to pay like $100 to hop on a 5-10 passenger plane.
Oh, wow.
Just to get to the island of Vieques, which is like a small island off of Puerto Rico. And from there, we kind of like, it was like a vacation / like filming the video. So it's like, yeah, they were like meant to be there on vacation, but they also wanted to, you know, shoot a video. And I kind of was there, like I was there for the video, but I was like, I'm also like here on vacation. So we just had a good time. Like it was just a great, like getting to like bond with them and we just kept coming up with ideas. So the one night where you see like the opening scene that just played, the guy videographer 12, he literally saw a guy on a horseback, like just like going by, and he was like, all right, it was like one take. He's like, all right, he's like, as soon as this horse goes by, you're gonna walk right behind him and you're gonna walk into the club. And he said this maybe like 15 seconds before it was happening. So he's like, you see that guy on the horse, like he's gonna come by, you're just gonna walk right behind him and go into the club like that. And that was like, that's one take.
That wasn't planned at all.
No. He's just, that was just like something that we needed a vehicle to start the music video. Like,
your videographer is a genius. Let me tell you. Like,
It was just, like that. Like we didn't hire anybody. Like that was just literally a club there in Vieques, Puerto Rico, that we just like were able to take a camera because it was like half indoor, half outdoor. And he just said, like, you see that guy on a horseback, like as soon as he goes, like you just walk right behind, you walk straight into the club, and like I'm gonna be right behind you. And like that was it. Like, you know, as soon as we
That
caught
was
it, I
the
was
take,
like, yeah, I was like, yeah,
yes.
like we couldn't replicate that. Like that was the take right there.
Yeah, you can't replicate something like that. That is incredible. Because I wanted to ask, like, who was riding the horse, and like, did you have to talk to them about getting a horse or something like that?
Didn't
Like,
know, no logistics like needed. We just were like, all right, we're gonna go out down, and like we had like the love interest for the music video, and then she was gonna be a part of it, the scene, but just for that scene right there, we just had to set it off, and that was what encapsulated it to a T.
that is
So,
fantastic.
yeah,
Oh my
just
gosh, that's
very
incredible.
spontaneous, like things that just come together out of like nothing, and that was kind of it. Like we're here, we got to make something happen. Like that, I think that's kind of like just showing up and being present. I think just in all aspects of life, like you never know what's gonna come from it. And I think it was like we're here on this island. It's like a Friday night. You know, we're here to have a good time. We have a camera. Like let's make something happen.
And you were just able to like roll with the punches, like whatever came in your way, like whatever happened, like you were able to be like, all right, like let's make some magic out of like what seems like nothing, but it's incredible.
Yeah, like
yes.
there was a guy that had a food stand that was like right next to the club, and then we were just like talking to him, chatting him up, and then like he saw about the camera, he started asking us, and then we're like, oh, can we get you in the video? Just like we just started getting food, like, you know, and it's just like those type of things just happened out of like thin air, just by being there and just chatting it up, and you know, because we definitely got a lot of people like came up to us like while we were in the club, like we had the camera, and like nobody stopped us to stop filming. They just stopped us to be like, hey, what are you guys doing? And like, you know, they were just very inquisitive, and we were just like, oh, we're just shooting a music video. Like we didn't have any permits or anything. We're just like, hey, we just I have this song and we're gonna shoot a video. And
I love that everyone was so chill there. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
nobody stopped. Like, yeah, like they're like, keep going. So
awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Well, you released your first song, Bingy. I think that's what it's called, Bingy. I think it was. Yeah.
No, I think that's actually a different Princeton, but sometimes they get a little
really.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you find it off of Apple Music or Spotify, nothing against you. Yeah, I think.
Oh,
it's just
okay. All right. Well,
I've had to dispute that like a lot just to be a certain Princeton. So
interesting. Okay. Well, I was gonna ask, like, how does your first release of your song of whichever song you first wrote and released compared to your current releases now?
Man. Honestly, I think a lot of it's still there in terms of just my first song that I ever wrote and put out is called Legendary. If that just gives you like a little caveat or, you know, something that, you know, a little exclusive. But yeah, the first song that I wrote when I was like 17, I was called Legendary. It was an original song. I had a beat from a friend. And I recorded it like by myself, like on Audacity. I don't know if anyone still uses Audacity. If you're familiar with it's a free software. I had the $20 mic that I bought from Target. I just was like holding it like in my hand, and I just ended up like finding how to do a clean mix of the song, which was clean, but it's still like trash. But I think the songwriting was there, and I had like a little melody to it, and that's something that I do a lot in my songs is. A lot of the hooks are very melodic. I sing mostly on them, and then the verses I rap, and I try to make it like detailed, like I'm writing like a dissertation. I try to make it very like well thought out for the verses, and then the hooks are very just something that comes naturally, like something that just has a great rhythm to it that I like to sing or even rap. So that's kind of like I kind of took that style, and I've just tried to perfect it over the last 10 years. So
that's amazing. Well, I have usually with a lot of rappers, they say that lyricism like is so important with that. Like when you're creating music, what do you think is like the most important thing? Do you find like yourself gravitating more towards lyricism or more towards the production aspect?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think for me, it's just like I would say lyricism in the aspect of a chorus. I think for me, the chorus is the biggest thing because it kind of just sets the song. When you listen to a song, that's kind of the vibe or something that you'll remember from the song. Maybe some people are wired different, but I think most people will, like, if they hear the song, like that chorus might be the thing that's catchy in their head that they might play back, you know, at nighttime or, you know, whenever randomly. And I think that's kind of what I try to set out to do. I'm like, oh, this song's gotta have a banging chorus if I'm gonna put it out. And then because I think when the chorus, it comes the most natural. Like I've mentioned before, like when I hear a like instrumental or a beat, the chorus is the first thing that I'll just start freestyling or just coming up with, because like that is like that natural. Like I have no placement with the song. I don't know what the song is, but that chorus will just start coming to me, or like a melody, and then But like I said, yeah, with that lyricism though, I try to be like Shakespeare or just somebody that's like a critically acclaimed, that, you know, like the writing has to be like flawless, and sometimes that leads like perfectionist is me, like, you know, sometimes it doesn't get done, but I've gotten better over the hump of just like, all right, you know, I think this is good enough, and like let's keep it moving.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does like challenge you as like a songwriter for sure, to be like on your A game for sure. Like I feel as a songwriter myself, it's very difficult sometimes to like really find like a good hook and a good catchy chorus. Yeah. But you managed to do it like flawlessly.
Yeah,
like
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. So what's some advice that you have received that has been the most impactful in your career so far?
Ooh. All right, I need you to say that one more time because I need to hear it again.
What's some advice that you have received that has been the most impactful in your career so far?
I think so far, just making a difference in showing up for other people, and like how you can provide value. Because I know as artists sometimes we're like, listen to my song, you know, get like, you know, it's a lot of like, give me your attention because I want to give you, like, I want to show you something. And sometimes, you know, that doesn't resonate with people. You know, it's like they might be your friend and they might listen to a song, but, you know, you have to, you know, what are you doing there for their life? You know, sometimes, you know, especially when you're starting out, the music might not be there. So you just have to learn like different ways of you're bringing value to them, as well as them bringing value to you by like listening to your song, streaming your music, like watching your music videos, like buying merch. I think that's something that I've just had to learn as I've gone, like showing up for other artists. Because I think early on, I really was just like focused on like, I like making music by myself or with somebody else, but I don't want to be out there like performing like, you know, at small showcases and things like that. I started to as time went on, but I think at first I was just like, man, the music's good. So like more people are going to listen to the music. And I didn't really understand the value of like showing up for other people, going to events, that people that put on showing up for the people that put on the events, and like actually making an impact, showing your face. And like, you know, it's like, yeah, a lot of people, like, they're just doing a lot of networking. Like maybe their music's not even up to par, but they're just doing a lot of networking. They're being seen, and like, you know, that's how they're getting opportunities. So I think just learning that, like, you know, because somebody else has like a, you know, is getting more opportunities than you, you know, that doesn't mean that their music's better than you or, you know, this or that. It just means that, you know, what's working for them is like putting themselves out there. And I think, you know, instead of being envious of that, you just have to like, you know, you want to put yourself out there, and like you want to make connections, and, you know that every time you step somewhere, that can also lead to another interaction, another connection, another opportunity. I think that's the big takeaway that I've learned.
Yeah. Who's a big connection that you've made, like with either producing or, you know, songwriting with, that like has really made an impact in your career as well? Like maybe a collaboration or something like that.
I would say, let's see, somebody that I worked with a guy early on named Steven Naide. He's based in New York. We're not super close at the moment, but at the time, he was getting placements when I think he was like a couple years older than me. So when I was like 17, he was getting placements with artists in Charlotte. And I don't know if you know about the NC Music Factory back in the day, but that was like one of the first places I recorded. I think I was 16 at the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And now it's like, now they do like content there. It's not the same as like the Music Factory recording as it used to be. Yeah. And yeah, he was one of the first people that, like, you know, I kind of expressed to him interest that I was interested in rapping. And he was a beat maker, and he was a producer, and he just gave me a lot of stuff from my first EP, which I dropped in like 2014. So that's like a 5-song EP. That was like my first ever like original playlist of songs that I put together, and he produced the whole thing. So I definitely have to give credit to him. And I think that's someone that he ended up getting like better placements and bigger placements. And he's in New York right now, as I'm saying, in this. And just, yeah, no, I've been very fortunate to interact with people that have been able to, you know, do things with bigger artists, or just do things out of the scale of, you know, from Charlotte, you know, to nationally and like internationally. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, you're going to perform your song called 5 a.m. Yeah. So stay tuned for Princeton, where he's going to be performing his song called 5 a.m. And we'll be right back with more. And yeah, take a look at these take a look at these ads, and we'll be right back.
This is rBeatz Trending Now show. Thank you for tuning in with me, Delta Sigma, and Annaliese Pearl. We are here, representing DJ World Beats Trending Hits on the rBeatz Boutique Global Radio and Media Streaming Network. Take it away, Annaliese.
Welcome back to this week's segment of What's Trending Now on rBeatz Radio, Media, and Streaming Network. Upcoming local, national, and international concerts. Starting off with Black Box Theater presents New Year's Eve featuring Space Lance and Heritage at Black Box Theater in Charlotte on Tuesday, December 31st. Doors open at 9 p.m. You can get your tickets at blackboxcharlotte.com. Country singer Maddox Baston is headed to the Underground on Sunday, December 8th. Doors open at 7 p.m. You can get your tickets at livenation.com. Eli Yacinth is performing at Starlight on 22nd along with fellow artist Drew Billions and The Nut is Good on December 14th. Doors open at 6 p.m. You can learn more at starlighton22nd.com. This is Annaliese Pearl, bringing you all the new details on the latest trending water cooler conversations. Stay on top of the rBeatz app and rBeatz.com, always bringing you the best of the best independent, national, and international artists. Let's get started with this week's DJ World Beats top trending songs. Spinning now on 25.8 366, our global pop stream, DJ World Beats brings you Stay With Me by Yosha Svik, Isabel La Rosa with her single, Muse. Spinning now on We Global Radio, our hip-hop and R&B stream, we have
Long Way Home by Chris Webby, featuring Scrissy Adams. Fresh from the Feds and No Love 42. Doug, featuring Lil Baby. Home Fried by Nappy Roots, featuring Benji. Trending now on our house and EDM stream, rBeatz Radio, Oblivion by Camel Fat and Masano featuring Nula, The Moment by Rekt and Namer. Back to you, Annaliese.
Coming up on our Gospel, Soul, and Praise stream, The Vessel Radio, we have
Don't Grow Weary, Rare of Breed, Ezekiel 3, Bryson Gray. Annaliese, back to you.
Closing out on USA Heroes, our classic rock and country station, we have Driving You to Denver by Bubba Berlin, and Even the Darkness by Dawn and Hawk. That concludes this week's countdown. Be sure to check in with us at each event for your chance to have your next hit announced on our social media sensation show, What's Trending Now. Be sure to check out rBTZ TV on YouTube and rBeatz.com. Just leave your name and phone number at each event for your opportunity to win cash prizes and a merch giveaway.
We're very honored to be here today and to form a partnership with Michael and bringing an American Hockey League team to Charlotte. We really feel that this is a huge step forward to the growth of hockey in North Carolina and in the South.
This is my new home.
They score again. Sorla, it's the hat trick.
Nedeljkovic for the empty net. He scores. The longest game in American Hockey League history, and we are in the midst of it. Rebound chance. St. Patrick. They're going to the Calder Cup Finals. The Charlotte Checkers are Calder Cup champions! They are the kings of the American Hockey League, and there's no one left to beat. Lorentz can win the game. Fake shoots!
It's been 590 days since the last hockey game in Charlotte, and the Checkers will don a new affiliate on their sweaters and a familiar face as their new captain.
Dangling shot, he scored! Checkers with it, rebound, Carlson buries it, we're back tomorrow night! On the right wing board, Samus Leskevich finds some ice shot. He scores! And the Checkers have their first lead of the Queen City Outdoor Classic. Number 124 for number 21, the new franchise record.
What's up, baby?
What's good, brother?
Yo, you think they got champagne at the Chicken King?
I don't know. It's a Chicken King. You can go see, though.
Let me find out.
No way.
Guess what? They had orange juice too, bro. We're about to do mimosas.
Princeton, my city, hey. Princeton, my city, hey. Hands to the ceiling, hey. Please don't fight the ceiling, hey.
I feel like the prince of my city. Show me God who tryna vibe with me. Sleep on me, it ain't no biggie. They say that I changed, oh really? I feel like the prince of my city. Show me God who tryna vibe with me. Sleep on me, it ain't no biggie. They say that I changed, no kidding. Went for something so unheard of. I mean, at least where I come from. A rapper trying to make music. They tried to make me feel stupid. I didn't grow up with the connections. I didn't pop up with the leverage. I always counted on the blessings. I always focused on the message. You drop a song, think that you're on. No Peloton, this a marathon. Getting inspiration at the light rail station. Look back on it like, can you make it? Look back on it like, damn, you made it. You kept it real, you don't have to fake it. Life goes up and down like heroin, so hold on tight to the very end. Cause I feel like the prince of my city. Show me God who tryna vibe with me. Sleep on me, it ain't no biggie. They say that I changed, oh really? I feel like the prince of my city. Show me God who tryna vibe with me. Sleep on me, it ain't no biggie.
Hey yo, I'm here with my boy Princeton, man. #1 in the game, son. Yes, sir. Hey yo, can I hold $5 though?
I don't have cash on me like that, dog.
I got cash, yeah.
Nah, see the way my phone works, bro. I
got Zelle, LimeWire. I got it all.
Asian women give me boosts. Translate Farsi for some kisses. She just tryna be a missus. Can't watch somebody too pretentious. But you know we always on the lookout. At the party, catch me at the cookout. Blood racing through my veins, Dale Earnhardt. That's how you know you from the home of NASCAR. No matter how far gone, got love for the city. Even when I'm not here, I put on for the city. Like everything I do, got a breath for the city. That's how you gotta feel when you raised in the city. Describe the effect that she has on me. Some call her true love, some call her the queen. Don't know why I got so much love for this girl. Let me tell you about Charlotte, best city in the world. I feel like the prince of my city. Show me God who tryna vibe with me. Sleep on me, it ain't no biggie. They say that I changed, oh really? I feel like the prince of my city. Show me God who tryna vibe with me. Sleep on me, it ain't no biggie. They say that I changed, no kidding. Prince in my city, ayy. Prince in my city, ayy. Hands to the ceiling, ayy. Please don't fight this feeling, ayy. Prince in my city, ayy. Prince in my city, ayy. Hands to the ceiling, ayy. Please don't stop this feeling, ayy. I feel like the prince of my city. Show me God who tryna vibe with me. Sleep on me, it ain't no biggie. They say that I changed, oh really? I feel like the prince of my city. Show me God who tryna vibe with me. Sleep on me, it ain't no biggie. They say that I changed, no kidding.
Welcome back to Local Music Somewhere here at rBeatz.com. Today we are here with Princeton. We're back here with Princeton, and you just listened to his song, Prince of My City. All right, and he's going to be performing 5 a.m. for us right here on rBeatz.com.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, look at that camera.
Yeah, right
Let's
there.
do it.
Uh-huh.
No, you're not ready for this? Let's go. Yeah.
Arrows run it up.
Now we've been through it all. 5 a.m. missed call. Levels way below. When I hit the road, when you go full speed, I got what you need. Balance, yeah, that's me, but I can't take a knee. Now shawty out in Houston, Texas. Know I got that Houston leverage. Ask her if she got the message. Can I pick you up at 7? She called me from the 281. Yeah, I know the voice. She hit me on arrival, girl, like you ain't have a choice. Now I can't tell a lie, but I won't reply. If you come tonight, emotions running high. Hey, emotions running high. I can't tell a lie, but I won't tell a lie. Wait, go away. Don't hit my phone. Go away. Go away. Go away. Don't hit my phone. We're gonna go back to go again. All right. Now childish, can't play no games. Why you bringing up my name? Thinking it could be the same. We had talks of wedding. Woo. Hold up, let me find my zen. I don't know how much I spent just to feel alive again. Jesus, please repent my sins. Now I can't tell a lie, but I won't reply. If you come tonight, emotions running high. Now hey, emotions running high. I can't tell a lie, but I won't tell a lie. Now I can't tell a lie, but I won't reply. If you come tonight, emotions running high. Now hey, emotions running high. I can't tell a lie, but I won't tell a lie. Now wait, I can't tell a lie. I want you tonight. If the time is right, yeah, we just might. One day we'll take flight. I won't ever lie, cause I won't ever tell a lie. Go away.
That's crazy, right? And then there's that like outro, you know, that like sexy outro that you do like a voicemail kind of thing, like you're reaching out to somebody. So
Yes. Ooh.
it's 5 a.m. It's gone.
Yes. Word. Ah, that was awesome. Woo!
Man.
Can I ask, did you write that song at 5 a.m.?
No, I did not write that song at 5 a.m.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was a collaboration with a friend, and he mainly had that idea for 5 a.m.
Oh,
and then I was
okay.
like, I really like this. Or what are you doing with it? And he's like, oh, I'm not sure. And I was like, all right, let me put my twist to it.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a great song. I've performed that song on like MTV and stuff like that, so that's great.
Yes. I actually wanted to ask about MTV.
Yeah.
You back in 2023,
Yeah.
you were on Fresh Out.
Yeah, MTV Fresh Out.
How did you get into contact with them, and what was it like performing live in a live acoustic set for them?
Basically how the journey started, that was the journey, that was a process. I had a friend from college that went to high school with a girl that was an intern at the time at MTV Fresh Out. So I think she put in like an Instagram story, like, we're looking for talent, you know, reach out. And he sent it to me. So I DM'd her, and I'm living in Charlotte, so like, you know, they film in New York. So I was like, well, you know, let's see where it goes. Maybe
Right.
they'll have me out in New York. And after a couple weeks, I sent her a couple of my songs, and she ended up liking it, and she showed it to like her head producer, and he liked it too. And they're like, okay, we'll put you on like a queue. So, you know, hit us up early this week to see if you'll be able to perform like later in the week. It's kind of like a process of like, it's either here or it's not going to happen.
Right.
So for 12 weeks, you know, I hit them up at the beginning of every Monday. They're like, actually, we won't be able to see you. Like, you know, feel free to hit us next week. And so for 12 weeks, it was just a constant, like, it was like a cycle at that point.
Yeah.
And I think at one point they had told me on a Monday, they're like, actually, like, we're going to do it. And like, you know, and yeah. And then by that Wednesday or Thursday, they started giving me more details. And then on that Thursday, like the day of Thursday, you know, the event was on Friday. They were like, actually, we won't be able to do it. Like something got mixed around, and, you know, and I was like, man, I was trying to get my travel arrangements in order and everything. And it was chaotic. And I think at that point, that was like 7 or 8 weeks in. And I was just like, man, I think I want to give up, because I was just like, you know, what's going on here?
Right.
You know, I was just, you know, it's constant, like, you know, like they like your stuff and they want to have you on, but they, you know, it's gonna, you know, you're at the whim of them because they're the one that's giving you the opportunity. So
Right.
that was one of like the biggest like persistent things that I've ever done. So I just was like, all right, once you can envision yourself doing something like that, of that nature, then you can, once you visualize yourself, then you can actually see yourself perform. So I was like, I know I can perform on this stage. And so it took to the 12th week. It was like 3 months in, and they're like, actually, you know, we can have you on. I was like, are you sure? Because, you know, you've given me this runaround before. Like, no, like, you know, come. And I was like, all right, what do I do about like a backing track? You know, like what you just heard, like, what do I do about a backing track? And they're like, there's no backing track. You're going to be doing a cappella. And I was like, so you're telling me I'm going to New York. I'm going all the way to New York for 1 minute to 1 minute performance just to perform a cappella, and I was like, damn, this is where it gets real.
Yeah.
And but I was like, I have to do it. I could see myself like on that stage, and that's where like they had the old TRL days with MTV.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And back in the 2000s, and I was like, man, I could really see myself like performing there. And so I went, and it was funny because I got to Times Square where we were meeting, and you know they have people come a few hours early for production purposes.
Yeah.
And the head producer was there, you know, outside of the, you know, we were outside of the building, and he was just like, he handed me like a fake water, or not a fake water bottle. He handed me a water bottle that was empty, and he was just like, all right, basically like we're gonna run through like how you're gonna perform. And I was like, man, like I thought I did everything to get to this point, and it's like literally right here in front of the building, like a couple hours before, like you need to, you know, ace this audition again in order to, you know, be able to perform. Like if I would have bombed there, then I wouldn't have been on, and like everything that I've, you know, sacrificed for the past 3 months, you know, of getting out there, you know, would have been wasted. But he gave me the water bottle, and I just was like, I just performed my song, and you know, and then he liked it, and he was like, oh yeah, we'll get you on. And it was just like something that was like, you know, it felt like magical. You know, we don't really get a lot of moments where things feel like magic, but that was magical, you know, to be able to perform in, you know, Times Square out of all places, you know. And I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, which, you know,
exactly.
You know, it gets frowned upon, not frowned upon, but looked down upon. And it's like, wow, I just, you know, went to New York City and performed on one of the biggest stages. So it was definitely like something that I'm glad I put up through the BS, because I knew what was on the other side. And that led me to, you know, performing and being on MTV and making friends there, and, you know, just, you know, opportunities, like I mentioned, like just showing up and opportunities come about, and like, you know, it just worked out, you know. And I'm the only artist from Charlotte to be on MTV Fresh Out. So
let's go.
You know,
yes.
That's those type of moments that you have to take.
Absolutely. And you took that moment and you were like, you know what? Hand me this water bottle. I'm going to I'm going to ace this audition. I'm going to show y'all that I am worth being on MTV for.
Exactly. Yeah. I then came all this way from North Carolina just for you guys to give me one more barrier to entry. I was like, all right, let's do it, so.
Yes, absolutely. So would you say that that was like your favorite performance, or what performance like throughout your career would you say like really stands out to you?
I would say I opened up for Raff. I don't know if you've heard Tiptoeing in My Jordans. The rapper, meme/rapper Raff. I opened up for him about 3 years ago. And I think that was probably, I did like a 12-minute performance. And I feel like top to bottom, that was like the best performance I gave, because I had a friend that was a DJ, and we had met a couple times before, and I had like certain cues in my songs, and I just wanted everything to be perfect. And I feel like, you know, with music, you know, a lot of things can go haywire, especially with performances, and it really just ended up going as I saw it was, and I performed for almost like I think 400 or 500 people, and it really just like opened my eyes, and had people like that knew me that were singing my lyrics, but then like having people catch on to the songs while I'm performing, and like when I'm like, all right, the chorus coming back around, they're literally singing my lyrics like there as well, and it's like an incredible feeling, and I just felt like everything went well, and I performed for 12 minutes, and it felt like I left at a good time, because maybe if I would have performed for 20 minutes, like, you know, it would have been too lengthy. But I think for 12, it was like, they're probably like, the people in the crowd were like, man, like I really like I want to hear more. You know, it's like you leave on like a good note where like people are like, I want to hear more from him. Like, dang, he just like, you know, like we want to hear more from him than Raff. And that was just something that I was like, man, you know, I had taken a lot of time of emailing artists, emailing venues, of like wanting to open up for bigger artists. And I just was falling short. I was never being able to get picked up. And I was like, man, I could really get some momentum going if I just was able to open up for a bigger artist.
Right.
And that was the first opportunity that came about. And that was the first time I opened up for a major artist. And I'm still wanting to do more. Yes. And I'm just glad that I was like, man, it gave me the confidence, like, wow, I do this. Like, this is what, you know, I'm not trying to do this. I do this, you know, and that really just opened my eyes, and it was just a great performance. I had a lot of my friends come out as well. And everything just worked out perfectly that night.
How did you get in contact with Raff?
I knew, I actually worked, I did Music Bingo, and the guy that was my boss that owned the Music Bingo company, he actually was putting on the show. So he was an artist himself. So he's like, you know, a good amount of years older than me, and he kind of had the building blocks in order to bring in artists of Raff's caliber. And I think that was one of those where I just was like, hey, you know, like he knew I made music, and I was just like, man, I could bring some people out. Like I'd like this opportunity, and he granted it to me. So it was something like that. That's where the, you know, even in that was a connection based, you know, of way of me getting on stage. And it just, but I ended up coming through because I, you know, brought a lot of people to the show, and, you know, proved my value as we've talked about.
Absolutely. Yes. You come up and you strive, and you do what you need to do, and it's amazing, and it's so inspiring for other artists to see that progression and see, like, you know, the achievements and everything like that you've been able to do, for sure.
Yeah, no.
So you released your single called Summer Fun. I have to ask, who's the person in the intro calling you out and saying you're an idiot?
Her name's Jessica. She's a friend of mine.
Oh.
We were a little closer in the summer than we are now, but her name's Jessica. Yeah, it was good. And I just had a concept of just like wanting one of those like voicemails in a song where like the girl's like going, you know, irate over the guy and just kind of, you know, I kind of wanted that vibe. So can you record this on a voice memo? And, you know, and then I ended up giving her like $25 because she was like, I need some comment. I was like, I don't really make much off of streaming. Like I can give you something. But yeah, that was kind of the song Summer Fun just came about. This whole summer, I've just been making music more spontaneously to showcase that, like, I'm actively doing it instead of just being an artist that's not putting out music. I was just like, man, I just need to find ways of, you know, what are things that are barriers to people inside people's minds where they're just like, I can't do this. And it's like, well, why can't you? And then when you actually peel it back, it's like, well, you're just actually not making an effort or putting in the time. So, you know, a lot of it was like, man, I need to put out more songs, but I wasn't making an active effort into putting out these songs. So this summer I was just like, I was part of an artist development program. And then I was like, all right, I need to just keep, you know, whether I release the songs or not, I just need to keep making some songs or just keep writing and stuff like that. You know, whether they're good or bad, because people are always looking for inspiration, you know, and sometimes you just have to make it, you know, yourself without, you know, if you're just hanging out, then it might not come. It may never come. So I ended up releasing 3 songs this summer that earlier this summer I didn't even, you know, they weren't on my radar. It was just something of just like, you know, constant, like, all right, let's just keep working at it. So that's how the Summer Fun came about. And I did Van Key and Pop Like This. Was there a couple other songs that I put out this summer? So
yes, phenomenal songs, by the way.
Thank you.
Can we expect an album or an EP from you in 2025? Maybe.
I keep the past couple of years I've been hinting at an album or EP, but then I feel like I just keep getting more into the singles. And then once you put a couple singles out, and then the year comes up, you're like, man, I really don't want to I want to do something more fresh, and it just becomes a cycle. So this time around, though, I won't give away a name or anything, but I have hopes of a small, like 4 to 5 song EP, and then follow that out by like a 10 to 12 song album. I would like to do a 15 to 18 song album, but I think it would just serve me better as not a local artist, as a more independent artist that, you know, is not as known, to keep putting out some singles and maybe a project to package that with, and then like a 10 to 12 song project. I don't know how to say it. I don't want to blow my load. I don't know how else to say it.
No, you're saying it correctly.
Where you you just want to like put out a 15 song project, and you're not, you know, you don't know how to promote it all the way, and like you just put time into 15 songs, and, you know, maybe 2 get heard. So I think, you know, wanting to put out singles, put a small project, a small EP with that, and then put out a couple more singles and then attach that to a bigger project. But I definitely have hopes of putting out an EP and an album in 2025. So.
Oh, you heard it here first. Yeah, exactly. Yes, keep on the lookout for that. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's exciting. So I want to ask, in early 2020, you went on Tengo Talento, Mucho Talento and performed your song La Cobra. Walk me through the process of that audition.
Have you heard of Norson Media? I've
heard of them, yes.
Okay. It's kind of like a building like this where they rent out spaces, and it's off of East Boulevard, I think. Or Independence. And basically, they have like Latin radio stations there. So my aunt gave me the heads up. They're like, hey, they're doing some sort of talent contest, like, you know. And I was under the impression that it was going to be to get on the radio. And I was like, oh, dude, I want to be on like Latin radio. I was like, only song I really have is like La Cobra. But I was like, I want to be on Latin radio. Like, you know, what do I have to do? And she was like, oh, you just have to show up and I guess like audition. And I was like, okay. So I just showed up to the audition, and I was like, there was like maybe like 50 or 60 people, and I was thinking, man, everybody trying to get on the radio, like what's going on here? Like, this is intense. And then I was asking somebody about it while we were in the back of the line, and they're like, no, this is for Tengo Talento, Mucho Talento. And I was like, ¿Cómo? Like what? What are you talking about, Tengo? And they're like, Tengo Talento, Mucho Talento. And they just kept saying the name. And I was like, what? And turns out it's a Mexican version of America's Got Talent. That's how I see it. So
yes.
That's kind of, and I was like, I don't really belong on like talent shows because I'm more like in the studio. I can make songs, but I'm not like, you tell me to sing like some Pavarotti, you know, that's not my, you know, to do. So, you know, how America's Got Talent, all those talent shows go. You know, it's probably the person with the best singing voice or, you know, something like that. I was like, that's not really like my style. That's not how I, you know, fit in. So I was about to leave and then I was like, you know what? I'm already here. I had no plans. Like I was like, maybe I'll go hang out with a friend, but I was like, I really have no plans. So I waited like 4 hours and I just waited 4 hours. I'm really thinking about it. Like, I'm like, dang, I really waited 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize when I got to like the front, they were like, yeah, you need to have like instrumentals or like something like, you know, it can't be anything with lyrics on it. And at the time, I didn't have like an instrumental version to La Cobra, but I was like, I know this is the song. Like I just it's like one of you had those feelings. I was like, if I perform this song, they're gonna like it. I'm gonna like be on the show. And I just remember like not arguing with the guy, but like the person that's doing like the tech support. I was like, hey, can you just pull up the YouTube video and like have it play in the background? I know there's lyrics, and I just remember like having to like go back and forth with him because he's like, no. I was like, please, man, like just play it. Like I promise you, like it'll be all right. Like I'll get my end situated, and he's like, okay. So then he ended up playing the song, and it had the lyrics in the background. But I just remember auditioning, and I just remember doing like a little dance to it, and it just, you know, they loved it, and I was just like, man, I was one of 2 people from Charlotte to go on to the show that got flown out to Burbank, California, or Los Angeles, Burbank, to be on the show. And I was the only person from Charlotte to qualify to the next round because, but I think where I failed ultimately on the show was that the Cobra was just a home run. I hit a home run in the first round. That's what it felt like. Yeah, they loved it. But then I didn't know exactly what to top it off with because some of the other like Latin sounding music that I had wasn't as good, in my opinion, to La Cobra. And it's like one of those things was like, man, I just hit a home run, you know, and, you know, it felt great, honestly, you know, going to my dad ended up going out there as well to watch me perform. And it was just really cool. You know, it was just a really cool experience. I think I knew I wasn't going to get far just because I was like, man, like I'm not their type of like, they do like maybe like a traditional Mexican singer that wins. So I was like, maybe, you know, but I was like, this is for the experience. Like, you know, this is for the plot, you know.
Exactly, for the plot.
It's for the plot. So, yeah, I just showed up. I felt like I was like, man, I had nothing to lose. Like, I know a lot. I was on the 22nd season. So they had 21 seasons before me. I didn't know a single like person on the television show, like the judges or anything. And I think that was the reason I was like, normally I'm like, I do my homework. But in that case, I was like, I'm just going to go in blind. I was like, all right, it's a talent show. Like I could see what they're saying. Like I could kind of have a sense of it, but like I don't need to know anything more about the judges. Like I just want to enjoy like, you know, me being there. And like, yeah, no, I killed it because I was just like, man, I know this song like the back of my hand. Absolutely. And I did like a little dance move like Cobra, and they just were in love with it, and like the crowd was in love with it. It got like I think 80,000 views on YouTube. I had random people. This year actually, I had performed at a show, and he was like, oh, you performed on Tengo Talento. And I was like, oh yeah, like that's crazy. It was like a fellow artist, and I was just like, yeah, I did that like 4 years ago. Yeah. He's like, man, you're one of the reasons I started like rapping in English was, you know, because of your song. And I was like, oh damn, like this is crazy. Like, you know, it's like one of those, you know, it just I'm really like, yeah, like I was like your face right now. I was just like, oh, this is weird. Like, you know,
that's mind blowing.
When you start like hearing like those things where like a little bit of fame, I was just like, oh man, I guess I was known, like, you know.
Yeah, like knowing you made an impact like that, like that's huge. That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it was on TV. I got to go again. But the second time around, like I ended up getting a buzz because they weren't really feeling one of them wasn't feeling the song. But instead of like on, you know, America's Got Talent where you just hear that buzz, it goes like fuera, which is like out. So you just hear, and they keep playing that like every 5 seconds, like after the buzz. So you just so I heard it, and then I was like singing, and I was like, okay, and then it just keep fuera, 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 and I was like, dang, this is, you know, so but in that case, like. Normally, I think like I probably would have like quit, but I was just like, I just gotta finish out the audition. So I like for the last 30 seconds, I just like powered through, and you know, ended up not making it. But you know, it's a cool story to tell, and I think, you know, it's like something that I also got to like, you know, showcase that like, hey, I got to perform an original song
Yes.
of mine on television. Like that doesn't happen every day.
And you
So-
got like really far too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
give
I was a
yourself some credit for
I
that.
was a quarterfinalist on a show that I didn't even know that year. I think that's like kind of and I feel like that's kind of like how I go about a lot of things. Like there's a lot of stuff that like, you know, I'm naive to, but I'm just like, I'm gonna show up, and I don't know what's gonna come from it, but I'm showing up, and I'm gonna give it my best, you know, the best of my ability, and then I know something's gonna come from it, because, you know, I feel like when I put my best foot forward, I believe, you know, I can take it another step. So.
You're a prime example of like the saying, like, you know, closed mouths don't get fed, you know? Like you're like, I'm going to put myself out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to show up where I need to show up in order to get where I need to go. Like you're a prime example of that, like showing up where you need to go and all that sort of stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, who is your dream artist to collaborate with?
Man. Well, first off, I'd like to say, like, I don't know, when I'm envisioning like an album, like if I had like a dream album, like I want to get people that like I like, but it wouldn't be like, so like my favorite artists are like Kanye and Drake. But like I'm thinking like, man, if I do a project, man, I would want like Stevie Nicks, like someone that an artist that I like, but that it would be a challenge to be on a song with her. So yeah, I definitely want like out of the box like features, you know, that maybe don't necessarily correlate with my sound, but that I think are phenomenal artists.
You like to step in a different sound than what you're normally used to.
Yeah. I think that's kind of like, you know, being a curator at times. I think that's like a big part of my artistry. I know I can be a gap towards other like people's genres and like other artists. You know I can like step in different worlds per se, and like, you know, give them a little taste of what I do, but then also get in their world. So, but definitely probably Pharrell though. I would say probably Pharrell would probably be, to work with him would be, because I know he'd make the beat as well, and I would want him to like be on the song, like sing on the song or rap on the song. So working with Pharrell would be dope. I
was gonna say, in the intro for 21 and Up, you mentioned how you want your album intro to start like Pharrell.
Yeah,
how has Pharrell music inspired you?
I just feel like he's just on point with anything he does. You know, whether it's music or whether it's clothing, just the person that he is. You know. It's tough because I try not to idolize people anymore, and I feel like I've gotten pretty good at like not idolizing people, but I think just like the type of impact that he's had and just the sounds is just like, I think when it's like if you're like in a studio session with him, it's like, man, he really knows exactly how to make this like hi-hat a certain way or like the exact chorus to sing. Like he just like, I don't know, it's like he has the answers to the test, and I feel like that just shows on, like, and he just does it on a consistent basis, you know, where like no one's like really touching him in terms of like, you know, at one point in time where he was just like, you know, anything he touched would just be fire. So
yes, for real. Like it's like
real.
it's
for real.
Well, the album 21 and Up, there's a quote on there that I really love. In the title track, you say, "I finished the album and they said good luck. It's downhill from here. This is 21 and Up. I finished the album and they said good luck. It's just getting started. This is 21 and Up." Tell me, what do these lyrics mean to you?
I think that's kind of like what, you know, set off my music career, and that's why, you know, a lot of people can fizzle out after, you know, whatever hobby or interest that they had, maybe after a few years. But I think that's what solidified me to want to keep making music, and why I'm still making music to this day. Was just like, you know, I think the ages of 18 to 21 are like very pivotal in a young person's life. And I feel like, you know, that project encapsulated like the shortcomings and the lessons and everything that I learned, you know, from the ages of 18 to 21 and up, kind of encapsulated that. And like, it was like a stamp of, you know, this is kind of, you know, it can just get started, it can just go downhill. It just depends on your perspective and how you see things. So for me, I'm more of like you know, it's just getting started. You know, and you know, some other people might, you know, it might just be downhill, you know, if they think that in their head, you know, that might turn into reality, because, you know, that's a manifestation on its own. So, you know, I just wanted to, you know, it can either go one of two ways. So it's like, you know, let's just get started. So 21 and Up.
Oh, that's amazing. So what's some advice that you might have for artists who want to get started in the music industry but don't know where to start?
I feel like this is kind of correlates to it. I actually recently read a book called Atomic Habits, and it talked something about the Goldilocks rule, which is like basically like humans, our peak motivation for something comes when our tasks are like optimally challenging. So it's like not too hard or not too easy. And that's what the Goldilocks rule is. So like in Goldilocks, you know, like the porridge, she was trying to get the porridge not too hot, not too cold, just right. So for me, it comes with like an affinity to making music. And to me, I have like a natural inclination to write lyrics, just to writing. And I think that's something that comes to me. And it's like it's not easy and it's not hard. It's just like I'm right in that Goldilocks. Like I'm right where I'm in that sweet spot where like if I spend some time on a song, I can make it pretty good. And I just urge other artists, you know, that's something that, you know, I'll get into more, but I urge other artists that want to pursue music, you know, to really, you know, do it for the love of whether it's songwriting, entertaining, you know, the vocal performance. I think there's a lot of aspects that make, you know, an artist, you know, it's not just one thing. So for me, it was a lot of the songwriting, you know, that just stuff that was, you know, ideas that were in my head that I wanted to write down. So the songwriting is over a melody or over a rhythm. The songwriting is what stuck out to me. But for other artists, you know, that are coming up, I just want them to know that it should be music related, you know, because I know a lot of times, you know, if people have personalities, you know, nowadays, you know, that the music is like another aspect of their being. So like, you know, say like, you know, these TikTokers, you know, they might get big on TikTok and then they're like, oh, we should start dropping music. And it's like, you know,
it's
for
not
me,
the same.
Yeah, for me, I'm just like, well, you know, I just feel like I came about it in such a way that it just feels so natural to me that I would like other people, you know, in the genre, you know, that, and you see it nowadays though, like the Kendrick Lamars, the Taylor Swifts, you know, those people, you know, you could tell like they had been musicians from day one. And I think that's what I would urge other artists, because, you know, this shouldn't be a trend. You know, you shouldn't hop on it because, you know, it's a cool thing to do. You should hop on it because it's something that you want to express yourself with, and something that you just want to, like, you know, it's going to burst out of you if you don't get it out. And I think that's what the advice that I give to artists, that, you know, do it for like those type of reasons. You know, otherwise find a different hobby.
Such wise words. Thank you so much, Princeton, for being here. We really appreciate it. Where can everybody find you on social media or any other platform?
I would say on Instagram, I'm at Princeton Musica. On TikTok and TikTok and YouTube, I'm the Princeton Dropout. So I never went to Princeton. You don't tell anybody that. But it's called the Princeton Dropout just because I think it sounds good. So Instagram, Princeton Musica, TikTok, and YouTube, the Princeton Dropout or Princeton Dropout. Spotify, Apple Music, you can search Princeton. There are a few Princetons, but I made sure to get my profile and it kind of can stick up to the top. But you search Princeton, you can search one of my songs, and then I'm working on a website, I'm working on merch. So I'm trying to get all those other aspects of, you know, marketing and, you know, merchandise and things like that together. But definitely like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you know, I'm on there. So
awesome. Yes. Well, go check them out. And thank you so much for tuning into Local Music Somewhere. We'll be sure to have more shows coming up here soon. So stick around. And thank you, Princeton, so much for being here with us today. Yep. Take care and have a great night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Run it up.
We've been through it all. 5 a.m. is call. Levels whipping low. When I hit the road, when you go full speed, I got what you need. Balance, yeah, that's me, but I can't take a knee. Shawty out in Houston, Texas. Know I got that Houston leverage. Ask her if she got the message. Can I pick you up at 7? She call me from the 281. Yeah, I know the voice. She hit me with a rival. Girl, I know you skipping work. I can't tell a lie, but I won't reply. If you come tonight, emotions running high. Hey, emotions running high. I can't tell a lie, but I won't tell a lie. Go away, don't hit my phone. Go away, go away, go away, don't hit my phone. Go away. Childish, can't play no games. Why you bringing up my name? Thinking it could be the same. We had talks to wedding. Hold up, let me find my zen. I don't know how much I spent just to feel alive again. Jesus, please repent my sins. I can't tell a lie, but I won't reply. If you come tonight, emotions running high. Hey,
emotions running high. I can't tell a lie, but I won't tell a lie. I can't tell a lie, but I won't reply. If you come tonight, emotions running high. Hey, emotions running high. I can't tell a lie, but I won't tell a lie. Wait, I can't tell a lie. I want you tonight. If the time is right, maybe we just might. One day we'll take flight. I won't ever lie, cause I won't ever tell a lie.
It's crazy, right? How we ended up in this position. I just can't imagine it with anybody else but you. I'll talk to you later.